We're happy you joined us today on The Final Takeaway. Here we dive deep into current events and social, cultural, political, economic, and legal issues affecting the people. Our content seeks to encourage critical thinking and informed discussions on topics important to people like you. Subscribe to stay connected, and thank you for your support. Against the International Court of Justice's order of May 2, 2025, warning Venezuela to refrain from conducting an election in Essequibo, Guyana, the Maduro regime moves ahead as planned. The announcement came from Venezuela's National Electoral Council, the CNE. The election is scheduled for Sunday, May 25, 2025, and will allow voters to elect 8 deputies who will represent Essequibo in the National Assembly. Voters will also elect a candidate to govern the territory claimed by Venezuela. Venezuela's organic law in defense of Guayana Esequiba also provides for the country to choose a head of government who will work provisionally in Tumarimo in the southern Venezuelan state of Bolivar, near Essequibo. But as election day draws near, Guyana stands ready to defend its territorial sovereignty and integrity. Both Guyanese and Venezuelans residing in Essequibo have also been warned of the risks and consequences of voting in Venezuela's election. Guyanese who vote will face arrest and incarceration for coup or treason. Earlier in the year, Guyana's Foreign Affairs Minister, Ropes and Ben, warned citizens of treason charges. Treason is a capital offense punished with the death penalty. Days ago, the Chief of Staff of the Guyana Defense Force, Brigadier Omar Khan, pleaded with residents to desist from voting in Venezuela's illegal election.
Anybody, and I want you to share this around, anybody, Guyanese in particular, who vote in that election will be arrested, charged, and jailed because it's a serious offense. It's a serious offense. And we're watching everyone who are going to be and where they're going to be on that day. If you see anything that is going wrong, you report it to us or the police.
Venezuelans living in Guyana won't be spared either. They will be arrested and deported back to Venezuela with no chance of returning, says the army chief. Guyana's population is estimated at just over 800,000. About 125,000 Guyanese live in Essequibo, a territory closest to Venezuela's eastern border. The planned election forms part of the Bolivarian Republic's attempt to reclaim the territory that was passed to Great Britain by the Netherlands during a transfer of colonial power. The transfer occurred in 1814, following the Anglo-Dutch Treaty of 1814. Essequibo was one of 3 Dutch colonies ceded to Great Britain at the Congress of Vienna in 1815. The other 2 are Demerara and Berbice. Venezuela initially accepted the 1899 Arbitral Award, which formally outlined the boundaries between Guyana and Venezuela. The document also cemented Britain's control of Essequibo. Venezuela later contested the award and has been trying to regain control of Essequibo ever since. The country's main argument is that the 1899 document is invalid since Venezuela's interests were allegedly unfairly represented at the arbitration. The dispute is presently before the International Court of Justice, or the World Court as we know it. The court is asked to rule on the validity of the award, giving Guyana lawful control of Essequibo. In terms of the logistics for the election, no precise details were provided regarding how Venezuela intends to hold the election in the disputed territory, lawfully administered and controlled by Guyana since 1899. Details out of Caracas remain vague or absent. For example, the number of voters. According to reports, Venezuela's National Electoral Council does not have a formal record of Essequibo voters. The council also failed to provide any information on how many Guyanese are eligible to vote in the upcoming election. With just a few more days to go until election, The Bolivarian government has yet to disclose how many ballot boxes are slated for Essequibo, the electoral zones, the electoral colleges, and which towns will participate in the election. Y más importante, how does Venezuela plan to occupy the disputed territory following this so-called election? So far, Guyana stands ready to defend its territorial sovereignty and will, quote, eliminate any threat, says Guyana's Army Chief. Speaking on border security yesterday, the U.S. ambassador to Guyana, Nicole Theriot, reaffirmed the United States' support in helping Guyana in the defense of Essequibo. The ambassador also called the election plan a, quote, sham by the Maduro regime to shore up domestic support, adding that, quote, we fully support the International Court of Justice measures for Venezuela to halt its so-called elections in Essequibo on May 25, and we are extremely unhappy that they made that ill-advised decision to go ahead and move forward. Perhaps good sense will prevail and Venezuela will refrain from holding the election based on the Maduro regime's recent position with decisions and rulings by the World Court. There is a high probability that Venezuela will conduct the election, and it will do so in defiance of the ICJ order. The country has set a precedent of ignoring or going against the court's rulings. In 2023, the country defied the ICJ's warning not to hold a special election to garner approval to make laws to annex Essequibo. The organic law in defense of Guayana Esequiba was passed in Venezuela's Congress in April 2024. We'll have to wait and see if President Nicolas Maduro means business or if this is just a bark with no bite. Perhaps Ricardo de Toma, a researcher in the Society and Borders program at the Federal University of Roraima, said it best when he said, quote, this move by Caracas is little more than a symbolic act. I don't see the likelihood that a representative who can apply legal acts, carry out works, take administrative measures, and guarantee authority over a territory materializes into an act. To do this, you have to guarantee sovereignty, which means ensuring there is no other sovereign actor. And that's the conflict taking place today, a dispute between two entities that consider themselves sovereign over the territory. Well, that's all for now. We hope to bring you updates on this story as they come to us. Be sure to turn on YouTube notifications for this channel to get notified. Thanks for watching. Stay safe.